welcome to a new episode of The Grind. We are live on Music Row at Smack Songs with three amazing songwriters before they start their day. Before we get started, I want to tell y'all what we're doing here. The Grind is all about showcasing music publishers, that's why we're at Smack Songs, and the songwriters that work with them and make the music, and kind of bringing everyone behind the proverbial songwriting curtain to know what it's like to do this, because y'all do it. So yeah, I would love for y'all to introduce yourselves. We got Jack. Hey. We got Kylie.
I'm Kylie Morgan.
And Ben Foster. Guys, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the audience who's just tuning in here and just tell them a little bit about yourself one by one.
Me?
Yeah, hit it, Jack. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Jack Newsom. I am from Los Angeles and I make pop music. I'm an artist as well as a songwriter for other artists, and I produce as well. And
triple threat.
Triple threat.
Yeah, I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston for 2 years, and I was on the show Songland, and that's how I wound up working here at Smack with Shane McAnally.
Love it.
That's how I met you as well, Songland. So my name's Kylie Morgan. I am a country music artist and singer-songwriter from Oklahoma, super tiny town called Newcastle. Told my mom when I was 12 that I was skipping college and moving to Nashville to be a country music artist. She loved that. She was like, is that before or after you become an astronaut? I was like, probably after. And ended up moving here at 19, filled up a truck with a bunch of thrift store furniture, saved up all my tour money, and bought a house here, and haven't looked back ever since. Signed my deal with Universal 2 years ago, and have been with Smack Songs Management and Publishing for 5 years now, which is crazy. So just get to write songs, perform, and get to make music with guys like this. So very, very good life. Ain't no complaints.
Love it. Love it.
I'm Ben Foster. I'm originally from Iowa.
No way.
I am.
Iowa boy, huh?
Yeah, an Iowa boy. I grew up in a small town called Garner. And after high school, I moved to Minneapolis and did some music stuff up there for a little bit. And then I moved here like 6 years ago. And I'm actually not at Smack. I write at Sony. But I think that's like kind of a good little peek into songwriting world. Like we just met this morning, so that's kind of like what we do on a daily basis, I guess. But yeah, I am a writer and artist producer as well, like Jack. And yeah, that's
I love
about
it.
me.
Well, let's dig into the songwriting process and like let's go way back. How old were all y'all when you wrote your first song? Even if it was like horrible, like tinkering, you know, like how old were you?
Was anyone's first song good?
What about the 20th?
If your first song was good, you're just Olivia Rodrigo or something.
Right.
That's about it.
Have an amazing team probably around you, right?
I'm trying to think. I don't remember like how old I was when I wrote my first song, but I remember being in my basement and I was writing my own lyrics to old Melissa Etheridge and Bonnie Raitt songs.
Yes.
What a way to start.
My mom like had these CDs on this like CD player in our basement, and I would just like write my own lyric sheets and stuff and like change the lyrics, and that was like at like 10 or so. And then maybe like a year or two after that, I was like, you know what? Let's build from scratch here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they start young.
No, I love that. I love that.
I truly feel like I haven't met a lot of people who have started writing songs older, but when I was 10, I was writing songs. None of them made sense. There was 7 different choruses, no such thing as a verse. I didn't know how it worked, but actually when I first started learning guitar at 12, I got a little pink Daisy Rock guitar for Christmas, begged for it, and my papa got it for me. It was the gift. I mean, here I am. Oklahoma Papaw really was came in clutch for that. But as soon as I started playing guitar, that's when it kind of like all clicked for me, as far as like, here's where a verse goes, here's where a chorus is. Oh, throw in a bridge, kind of thing.
Right.
So that really like opened my eyes on the whole idea of songwriting and the whole like structure of it as well. Yeah.
It's a process, figuring that out for sure.
For me, I feel like, I don't know, it was probably somewhere in like middle school, because when I was in like 5th grade, my mom took me to a John Mayer concert on like Room for Squares tour, and I was like, oh man.
Oh
like,
man.
I need to do this forever. And I like would go home and my sisters had this like karaoke machine, and it had like the 2 tape decks on it. And so I would like, when I started playing guitar, I would like record one thing into it, and then I'd like sit there and like write lyrics to it, and then I'd record the vocal onto it.
You were doing like millennial analog.
Yes,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely. So I'd
That
like
thing
sit
now
in
goes
there.
for $1 million, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it was so funny 'cause, like,
I hope your sister kept it.
Yeah.
I was looking for the tapes last time I went home because I'm like, I want so badly to find them.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
Please
maybe
find
one
them
day.
and like sample it. And, like,
I should and re-release it.
That would be awesome.
it's like a collab with your past tense self.
Yes.
Oh my god, I kind of dig that.
Ooh. We probably all do that. I'm sure you guys have so much catalog stuff
Oh
that
my
you like
gosh.
listen back to and you're like, who is this?
My poor old MacBook Garage Band knows my deepest, darkest secrets. It's not great.
So, okay, so you guys all started writing songs very young, which I think is super common. What brings you guys to Nashville eventually? I know you're still in LA, but considering a move to Nashville, so I'm team move you to Nashville, obviously now. But what brings you guys to making trips or eventually here?
I mean, I think the way that the city looks at the creation of songs and the way that this city values, you know, other songwriters and stuff in LA, it's similar, but there is this me mentality, I think, that's kind of hard to avoid.
Right.
And then here, people rally behind each other by default. Like, it's like every night, if there's a round, people are like, what are you doing? Let's go out. Let's go have fun and like build up our peers and our friends.
Yeah.
And it's just different. And like the way it's so, that's so rare. Like I haven't been to another city in the world where people do that.
I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Nashville is like this special music community. And if you're not a songwriter, like there's just so many enthusiasts
Yeah.
or, you know, people like everyone who works at Smack Songs, you know, who are just so passionate about the music that like the
Bless them.
artists. Yes. Yes.
We need them.
So you moved here so young. I'm like shocked by that story.
Yeah, so I was kind of one of those kids that like my mom knew when I said I was going to do something, I was just going to do it, and I would just figure a way to do it. And for me, songwriting, ever since I was little, was just therapy. So I would come home and, you know, close my door in my room and just write about what I was going through as a kid, which I dealt with bullying a lot growing up, and so like songwriting was kind of the thing that I would turn to kind of figure out my feelings, and it's a lot cheaper than therapy. So mom was pretty happy about that. But Nashville was just always the goal. It was just a matter of time for me. I also have family out here. My papa is from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Aww.
So I came to Nashville at a very young age, and I just saw all the lights and the music and walked down the street of Broadway for the first time at 16, and I was just like, I can't imagine not being here. I felt like, too, being from a very small town, I felt like a fish out of water. And when I moved here, even came here for the first time, I was like, oh, everyone is just as weird as I am. This is great. Like, everyone is just as crazy as I am to like move to a city and try and make songwriting and singing work as a career. So when I moved here, I found my people, and it's just have been one of those things. I'm such a family-oriented person, and so moving to a new city was terrifying for me because moving 700 miles away from my family. But I was so grateful to move here and find my family, my musical family, immediately. And again, everyone moves here, but usually from different places, so we are all in the need of family. And so moving here and having those people around you is really the difference of why I feel like a lot of people come here and stay here because of that.
Right. I totally agree. I love that. And I think there's like this sentiment that Nashville, if you move there, you're going to be small fish, big pond. And I don't know if you guys have felt that at all, because I felt the opposite. It's almost like you go into a pond, you're like, oh, my fish friends. What's good, you guys? You know, like such a similar passion and like,
I feel like Nashville is the biggest small town.
Yes.
So, for instance, like me coming from, I would have graduated with 80 people if I would have stayed in my hometown and didn't switch to online school. But like, I feel like coming here, there's so much things to do and so many places to be, but also like, Jack, what's up? Coffee shop. How are you? Like,
Yeah,
or
right.
like, man, like it's been forever. Saw you at the bar. Like, it's just you always run into each other, and yeah, everyone's like-minded. So it's really great.
How about you, Ben? When did you get into town and what brought you here?
I came here like 6 years ago.
Okay.
But I was living in Minneapolis. I actually almost moved here right after high school, and then I was like, I'm really tight with my family, so I didn't want to move super far away because it's like 13 hours drive home. So
it's a jaunt.
Yeah, it is. So I moved to Minneapolis, which was only like 2 hours away, which honestly has a great music scene too. And so,
Atmosphere, rhyme sayers.
Yeah, totally.
If you're watching, homies.
Yeah, but I went to a little music school up there and did some like audio production stuff and started co-writing with some people, but it was more like I was working with Nathan from Hippocampus.
Okay.
Like, we were writing some songs together and doing some stuff, but like I just wanted more of that like collaborativeness as well. And so, you know, I was just like, I think Nashville is the move for that. So I started making some trips down here, and you just like you said, you kind of find your crew and you find your family down here, and start plugging away and writing songs.
Well, like, let's talk about that day to day, because I feel like people don't really know what that's like, you know, where you're going from write to write, and sometimes you're meeting people for the first time and you're like, what can we write about today? I don't really know you, but we're doing this. So like, what does the day to day for your sessions look like, y'all?
Day to day sessions, it's like, I think it's good because if something happens in your life that you can use as, you know, as your ammo for the day, it's fresh usually, and you can use it. But sometimes things can get kind of stale, especially if things aren't happening so much. If you've been single for a while, if you've been dating for a while, if you know, this, like, when things get stale, that's kind of like the hard part. It's just like manufacturing and pulling stuff from the air and being like, let's write about this, even though I don't know if I'm necessarily feeling it. But yeah, flip side is that if something does happen and it's fresh, you're like, oh.
It comes back to that group therapy thing.
Literally, yeah.
You know, I feel like sometimes you start sessions and like somebody will walk in and they're like a little down and you're like, what's going on with you? Because you're all like,
tell us your deepest, darkest secrets so we can put them in this song. I mean, yeah, that's truly what it is. And what's crazy about it is, like, for instance, we just met today, and I'll be like, hi, so this is what's going to happen in my life right now, and this is how I'm feeling. And you're like, whoa, this is a very intense first date. It's like really what it is. Yeah. I mean, crazy enough, actually, my fiance and I met on a co-write. Like, that was our first date.
Really?
And so I always like say that that's what co-writes are, because you're pretty much like telling everyone all your deepest, darkest secrets and all the things behind the curtain on the first day so you can write about it. And so I think it's pretty beautiful, though, because it gets you, especially as a creative, we work with a whole different part of our brains that's terrifying sometimes, because we are so in it and it's so easy for us to put it out there that it's almost scary.
Yeah.
So especially, I feel like you can attest to this being an artist as well. When I'm on stage and I'm singing these songs that I'm writing, I'm literally reading everyone my diary.
Right.
That's what I'm doing.
Naked on the stage.
Yeah.
It's what it feels like.
Exactly. I've written a song called Naked, because like that's how it feels. Like you're pretty much like, hi, my name's Kylie. I hope you like me. Here's my life story. Here's the guy that broke my heart. Here's the guy that fixed it. Here's like all the things that are happening in my life. And it's a beautiful experience because people who don't know how to write songs get to turn to us for that. So we get to be kind of the illustrator that's like, hey, you're not the only one going through this. Like, we, as well as so many other people, so let me help you deal with your feelings through this song.
Right.
In a way that's like, I've had people come up and hug me and cry and be like, you knew exactly how I was feeling. I've never even met them.
Oh,
and so
it's so special.
It's a pretty special thing to be able to like just walk into a room. Hi, my name's Kylie. Here's what I'm going through. Let's write a song about it. I put it online and I get so many messages that it's like, thank you for writing this. Thank you. And it's a very like overwhelming and satisfactory kind of thing that you do.
How do you guys find co-writers? Like, do you like meet people and you're like, I love this song, let's get in a room together? Or does like someone like matchmake for you, or how does that work?
I feel kind of both.
Both?
You know, it's just like there's people that I'll reach out to that I want to write with, but there's people that my publisher will set me up with. And, yeah, it just really depends. I mean, it's kind of been a little bit of everything for me.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. Yes. It's pretty crazy because like sometimes we'll like literally open our phone, there'll be an address, names, and you're like, okay, this is what I have to work with. And you go to the address, you meet the names, and then you create a song.
Yeah.
So it's like that. And you also like meet people that you want to write with. Like when Jack and I met, I was like, yeah, we're going to create together for sure.
Right. Like there's just a vibe.
Kylie was my first write in Nashville. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, I feel so honored.
Yeah, because I'd come here. It was my first trip after Songland, and Kylie and I got in the room with our friend Emily Falvey, and we wrote this like
Emily, we love
really
you.
pretty song, and both of them had this title like listed in their notes, like, and they were just like, I've been dying to write a song with this title. The other one was like, literally same, and then we made it happen. It was very serendipitous.
Synergy.
It's very synergetic.
That is so crazy to me when people have the same title on their phone and they've like haven't written it yet.
It's like you've been waiting to find the other person who has the title
Yeah.
on their phone.
Yes. Exactly.
And then it just pours out.
It just pours out. And there's like, okay, so I have a question. Do y'all think that there's like a time, like an amount of time it should take to write a good song?
I don't think so.
I wanted this to be divisive, so it's working.
I mean, I've written songs in 15 minutes. I've written songs in 5 days. So like, I'm a very fast writer. I feel like it's really easy to overthink things personally. And if it feels right, then I usually let my emotions lead rather than the mathematical songwriting way to do things. But that can sometimes have a great thing because then you have a songwriter in the room. It's like, okay, Kylie, let's calm down. Maybe like, let's look at other things. And I'm like, and then we find something better. And I'm like, okay, you're right. I shouldn't have dove into that so fast. So having other perspectives is nice.
Right. Yeah. So when you're doing those writes, have you guys ever like just been not in the mood to do it, and then you like get in the room and you're like, I know I got to get this together? What do you do to like get your mindset right on those types of days, like before a session?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Yoga.
Yoga's a great answer.
I'm like, God, help me get through this session. A lot of yoga and prayer for me personally. What about you?
To get through the sessions that
like if you're
the
just
hard
not
ones.
having it that day.
I mean, hopefully you're in the room with someone you're close with, or someone that you know already, and that you can kind of be like, this is a drag, and you can be open about it. But yeah, I think kind of keeping like with the yoga and stuff, I think that recently I've kind of like been going to the gym a lot more and trying to keep myself like physically and mentally healthy. And I think that kind of helps you prevent that burnout a little bit more if you're like a well-oiled machine and you can show up for work and you can, you know, do your thing, expend all your energy, and do all that stuff. But it's hard, especially if you're doing it all the time. Like people write like sometimes do 2 sessions a day. When I first moved to LA, I was doing doubles like all the time, and I was just writing as much as I physically could, and you will burn out. Like it's I think accepting the burnout too is part of it, where like you understand like you're only human, you can only do so much, and I think that knowing that there's going to be a time and place for all of that.
Well, I realized too, like for me, the less I write, the better my songs are.
Right.
Because then I can get emotionally invested in them rather than, I mean, songwriting is very emotional. Like whether you're writing a upbeat fast song or whether you're writing a breakup song, like it is emotionally exhausting. And so when you look at your calendar and you have to write 5 days that week and you're like, I have to check off all these emotions that I'm feeling with sometimes strangers or sometimes friends, and it's like, you're just tired. And so I've realized, like, especially me, thank God, going back out on the road. Praise Jesus, we have missed you.
Yes,
we've missed you concerts, we've missed you live music. It has given me the beautiful balance of being able to play the songs that I'm in these 4 walls creating and seeing reactions, as well as having that inspiration to create more and writing less, if that makes sense.
Totally.
You got to recharge the battery.
Yes.
You can't just drain it.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
There's such this culture, like in the music industry in general, that's like grind. Get your 10,000 hours in. And I feel like, you know, it says a lot about you that you've been able to say, this is what works best for me. This is what takes care of my spirit and my like creative pursuit, and like set those boundaries.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Saying no is huge.
And it's hard because then you like, this is also like an outwork town. So you want to feel like you're outworking everyone so you can work the hardest, but also like if you work too hard, then you're not as good. Like you're not the best version of yourself.
Sure.
Right. Right. What was like getting publishing deals and getting some formalized, you know, systems behind you? How has that changed the way you guys made music? Because I'm sure at some point it was just y'all on an instrument doing what you do, and you know now you have powers that be that support you and that you have to report to. So how has that sort of like changed your workflow? What about you, Ben?
I signed my first publishing deal like a year into moving here, and it was great because I just like I'd never like worked with a publisher before, so it was like, and I was writing a lot on my own as well. So getting like kind of like what you were talking about, the speed dating before, I got put in rooms with all of these different people, and it was just like it really sharpened like my writing tool to be able to like learn. I was writing with older writers who had like cuts at like massive hits and stuff, and then it's like I go write with somebody who's like kind of new like me, so it's like, you know, just learning, being a sponge. In that first deal was like huge for me because I was just like, I'm gonna go in like I know nothing today and take something out of today and apply it to like my next write that I have. And then, you know, like fast forwarding, it's like coming into my second deal now with Sony, it's like, okay, I know what to expect now. And so like, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still like, I'm gonna probably learn something from both of these guys today. And it's just like, once you like wring out the sponge and you start putting songs out and you start like getting cuts on people, it's like, okay, cool. Like if you go in with that attitude, I feel like the publisher can like serve you well with putting you in rooms with people like that. But
yeah, absolutely. For me, like publishing deal and record deal was like the gold medal. Like it's like that's what you strive for always. And especially starting this, I started going on the road full time at 14. Switched to online school, did it like I had the best, thank God, momager in the world.
Yes,
like
momager.
We went everywhere, and it was one of those things where, especially like when you're so close to something, trusting other people with it is terrifying. And I will say I have been so lucky. I've signed only 2 publishing deals in Nashville. The first one, I have nothing bad to say about it. It was just time to move on.
Yeah.
And then the second one, when I met Shane McAnally, it was like one of the biggest exhales of my whole life. When you are so close to something and when it is so individualized to you, as if like these are my dreams, like this is my life, and then you're pretty much like ripping your heart out and being like, you got it, like can I trust you with this? It's scary, but thank God, especially like I'm sure you feel this at Sony, and I know you feel this at Smack. Smack is such a family place. Like when I come into the office, I get so excited because I get to see my family that I haven't seen because I've been on the road or like I've been doing other things, and it's such a trusting environment. And I feel like that is not always the case. It's very rare, actually. But I think trust is the biggest thing that you have to figure out with your team, and that's with signing a publishing deal. Is like, who do you trust with your dreams? Who do you trust with your songs?
And be a champion of you
yes.
too. I feel like
believe in you.
Yeah, my guy Kenley over at Sony is just like, that was the breath of fresh air thing. Is like a great way to put it. It was like the first time I hopped on the phone with somebody and I was like, oh, he gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
How do you ID like the breath of fresh air, you know? Because so many people are just waiting for someone to tell them like, your music's amazing, you're a star. And so how did you know that about Shane and about your guy Sony?
It was kind of just like a gut thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember when he called me and I was like, he's like, hey man, like, are you talking to anybody else right now? Like publisher wise? And I was like kind of, but why? What's up? He's like, okay, don't talk to anybody else.
Okay, let's go exclusive.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
How has it changed for you since you signed your deal?
It was crazy. I mean, Shane, after we wrapped Songland, it was like the day after we wrapped Songland, a friend of mine wrote a song, and we sent the song to Shane, and the next morning he texted me, where are you? I'm coming over. And we both looked at each other and we were like, what? And so he just pulled up to my house and like came in and like we made him eggs. And we were just talking, and he was basically just like, I want to be involved, and I don't know what that looks like, but I just want to be involved. And we were just sitting there like, this only happens in movies. Like this doesn't happen. And like, I can say, you know, I went to Berkeley, I was on Songland, I can give you like the short spiel, but it's not that linear. I was in 2 failed boy band projects. Like I've like you go through the ringer, but that doesn't end up on your elevator pitch. That doesn't end up on your whatever. Like that's just part of my past that, you know, you kind of like brush past. But like when Shane came over, I was like, this doesn't this doesn't happen. Like, this is such a magical thing. And
That's also just Shane.
no, that's
Yeah.
huge. Like, that was a huge, I was like, this man is so real. He's so, like, he's down to build with people who don't have stuff built, which is a really rare thing,
So rare.
especially in this industry. People love stuff that's already built. People will, you know, throw themselves at whatever is already raking in millions of dollars every quarter or whatever.
Right.
So for someone to do that for something that's otherwise like untouched is really rare and really beautiful.
Truly.
I love that. And I'm so glad you had that moment. Catherine's waving me down. We got a chat question over here. We got some questions.
We have some viewer questions.
Let's go.
Yes, we love viewer questions. So JMink97 wants to know, do you or when do you draw on other people's experiences to inspire your songwriting?
Ooh.
I want to take this question only because I have an idea for us today that I want to write.
Here we go.
I'm gonna let her remain nameless. But my best friend and her boyfriend just broke up.
Oh,
And
no.
She called me, or I called her yesterday, and it had been 2 weeks, and she hadn't called me. So that's when I knew that
Something's up.
something's up. So I called her, and long story short, they were like ready to get married, and then all of a sudden they weren't. And so it is like so distraught for me to like hear that over the phone.
Yeah.
And so for me, like I'm in a relationship and have been in for 6 years and had just got engaged in a completely different headspace. But to hear that experience, I like immediately want to write a song so that she can relate to, because there's so many other people that have gone through that. And so that's why I have a few title ideas for us today.
Oh,
but
she's
I feel
ready.
Like,
She is
I
ready.
feel like it needs to be written today, and it just depends on things like that. Like it's like that happened yesterday, and then we have a co-write today, and there'll be a song baby born today because of that.
Welcome to the ride, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You're all getting co-writes.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Truly.
I love that. I also think it kind of naturally happens when you're in co-writes, right? Because like somebody will bring up a story and it's not necessarily your story that they're sharing in the right, but you gotta emotionally and like empathetically align with it and put yourself in those metaphoric shoes, you know?
I feel like for me, it's always like the first like half an hour, 45 minutes of the write when you like, when those stories come out, you know, and we're all just sitting there chilling, and then one of those stories comes out and it's like, oh no. Rewind a little bit. Let's revisit that.
Yeah, let's dig in there. Let's get some details.
Yeah.
It's all just storytelling. Whoever has the best story that day wins, I feel
Yeah.
like. And you kind of, like if it's not yours, sometimes that's even better, because if you're not in a place where, I don't know, you're single as hell and you haven't seen anybody, and the other person in the room maybe just met someone for the first time the other night, and you're just like, oh, I get to live vicariously through you, and we get to channel that there's nothing better than like a new love, and you get to, that sometimes is really fun.
Yeah.
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 You get to play different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You kind of hit on this earlier about how like if your life's been, I think you like said static or something, sometimes you don't have that much to write about. Do you think that you have to have like a little bit of like a tumultuous situation in your life to be inspired?
I think, a lot of the best stories and the best things have been born out of just absolute chaos. So I feel like whenever things like, I don't know, and everybody's heard like all the cliche, you know, things, but a lot of good songs get written out of really terrible, terrible things.
My fiance says I start fights so I can get content. Like, don't do it. Don't date an artist. They just want to be sad so they can get content.
Big Julia
Right.
Michaels energy, yeah.
Oh my God, right. Y'all like wrap up a fight and you're like, well, I gotta go write a song.
Literally, he's like, I'll hear it tomorrow.
I'll be back in a few hours. Yeah.
So when y'all are starting, did you have like mentors or somebody who like became a champion of you super young that like helped build your confidence to like confidently get into music and just dive in? Ben, did you have anybody?
My parents were they were not musicians at all, but they were just so supportive of like when I picked up the guitar and started writing songs. And I was in a little band with my sisters, and we'd go around and play like town festivals and stuff.
Oh, family band.
Yeah, family band. It was super fun. I just like, we used to do 3-part harmony stuff all the time, so I'm just like a big sucker for when we get to do that in the room some days, because it just takes me back to like making music with my sisters and stuff. But when I moved to town, there's a guy named Neil Cody, and he's been a writer here forever, and he kind of just like, he was the one who kind of like facilitated my first deal and like was putting me in rooms with people that I just didn't know and wouldn't have met if it wasn't for him. And he would just give me like great critiques on songs that I was writing by myself too.
Which you need.
Which you totally need. You need a sounding board because it's so hard. Like you can have such writer's block just writing by yourself. And I feel like all the songs that I write by myself now, I don't write in a day. Yeah. You know, I have to like look in the mirror for a little bit and then come back, and then like, you know, a few days later I'm like, oh, if I tweak that, it'd feel a lot better. So.
Right. And are you writing for your own self as an artist, or are you doing a lot of pitching of songs?
I'm doing both. Right now it's been a lot of writing for other people, but I just did put an EP out last week. That was a lot of songs that I wrote on my own.
What's it called? Let's promo it.
It's called People Can Change.
Let's go.
I know what I'm listening to on my way home.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
Man, for me, I'm gonna make this short, but I have amazing parents that pretty much just instilled with me, it's a matter of when and if, and my dad's like, baby girl, you can have anything in the world if you just work for it. I leave this part out of my story actually a lot in interviews, only because it was a very hard part of my life. I signed my first record deal when I was 14, and I found this guy who pretty much was like, I want to make this work for you, I believe in you. And it was incredible until it became very toxic. I was very much just like, at 15 years old, trying to be absolutely perfect. I was told to straighten my hair before every show because someone already has curly hair in the industry. I was told what to wear. I was told how, it was very scary for a young girl. Yeah. And I met this guy. Thank God there's one thing that really was the puzzle piece fit. This guy named Russ Davidson, who pretty much was like, I want to save you from this. And so it took me a long time and a lot of money to get out of that deal, but I moved here immediately with a deal, which is like very unheard of, but thank God, because my mom, I don't know if my mom would have been on board if I was like, oh, I'll just see what happens in Nashville. But Russ, he pretty much adopted me. I stayed with him and his wife all the time as I went back and forth between Oklahoma and Nashville. And that transitioned into like meeting the group of people that I really loved, and it was right on the edge of like when that company was closing. I was like, what am I gonna do? And I got a call from Robin Palmer over here at Smack Songs. I call her Mama Bean. And I'll never forget this. I had her on speaker from my a voice message, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, fiance now. And she's like, hi, this is Robin Palmer. I'm over at Smack Songs. I was just calling to see, who are you? Because I haven't heard of you, so call me back.
You were like, what?
Yeah. And so, well, I moved here with a deal, so I never met with anyone.
Yeah.
So no one had really heard of me, and I hadn't really met anyone at all. And so I went over there, and she was like, I work with this guy named Shane. I think you're going to love him. So I remember watching the Taylor Swift documentary, I think it was on CNN, and she was saying how she met Scott Borchetta at the Bluebird, and her life changed after that. And ironic enough, I played a show at the Bluebird, was talking to Smack, and Shane came and sat down, and we made eye contact, and he goes, I'm Shane. And I was over here like, I know. And I played the show, and after he was like, I want to work with you, I want you to sign a Smack. And ever since then, Shane has been like my ride or die, literally my saving grace, knight in shining armor.
That's an amazing story, and thank you for sharing that, because, you know, I guarantee you there's people watching who have had a situation where they had all their hopes and dreams in the hands of one person and are let down, and so many people don't try again, don't start again, they're jaded after that. So it's amazing that you've navigated that with like the help of some mentors.
Well, I have this song called Fireworks that I think I'm going to put on my next EP, but the whole idea of it is that, like, you know, people have almost drowned in the ocean, but they still go swim again. Yeah. And people have like done this and they still try it again, and with like our hearts, usually when it's broken, we don't try again. And so I wish that, like, I hope this is a testimony of like, try again, because it will work. And if it will be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, then it's not the end.
Ugh, I feel that so spiritually. Go write that. Put it on the project immediately. Was anybody writing it down? Catherine, we got more chat questions?
We do. We have more viewer questions. So Music Fiend 124 wants to know, if you weren't a singer-songwriter, what would you be doing now?
This question.
Jack first.
This question.
Jack first.
Yeah, Jack first. Something creative. I can't imagine not doing anything creative. I feel like, I don't know, love, like architecture, interior design,
Ooh.
fashion, all that
Yes.
stuff. Just like building things and getting my hands dirty and making things happen out of nothing.
Right.
I love that stuff. Yeah, but that question's always so hard.
So hard.
Yeah.
I would be a gypsy yogi, live in a van, and
Yeah.
make yoga videos online.
Wait,
while
how
playing
is that
guitar.
different than what you do?
It's pretty much the same, just like, not on tour technically, like playing venues, but I begged my parents to buy an RV and take us on the road when I was 5. So like I knew I was always gonna be that road life. So yeah, I've asked Jay, my fiance, I'm like, let's just buy a van and like just like go. And he's
Do
like,
it.
we need a home base. Like that's what you do for a living. You need a place to come home to. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I guess that makes sense. What would you do?
Yeah.
It's funny, I got asked this question like last week, and so I've had some time to think about it.
Okay,
And
okay.
actually, you said architecture, which is super funny because I was at my girlfriend's parents' house last week, and they are building a new house, and they have all these like books of like inspiration for like what they're pulling from in their new house. And I was
Ooh.
like, and all these like blueprint drawings and stuff in there. I was like, I think that's actually what I would maybe do, because it's still super creative,
Super,
you know.
yeah.
But it's just like you said, you're building things, and like, I don't know. I guess it's the same as songwriting. Like you come in with an idea or like a vision or something, and you like bring it to life.
I mean,
so,
I don't know about y'all. I can't imagine not doing something creative.
Yeah.
Even if
No.
like this wasn't a thing, like if you're creative, you're creative. I feel like.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's so true. Guys, keep the chat questions coming. We love them. We'll keep asking them. So I guess I'm curious, is there truth to like your first 100 songs, 200 songs being mediocre at best? Like, do you have to dig through?
Who said it? The Ed Sheeran thing? Like, you have to start the water, or let the water in the faucet run until it runs clean.
Oh.
The most amazing. After that, I was like, yeah, there's no way to explain this other than that. It's just
that.
water. It's just you turn the faucet on. This is like an old house or a house that's never had the water run before, so there's gunk in the pipes and
Don't
stuff.
drink it.
And you gotta let it run until it runs clean.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
I think so too. The fact of like what we do is, in a way, it can be very frustrating because, for instance, okay, we get paid to write songs, right? Okay, well, that's like me telling a plumber, hey, you're gonna go fix 1,000 sinks and maybe you'll get paid for one. Like, no one else does that. Like, they'd be like, okay, let's see. Like, no one else does that.
Oh.
But that's what's so cool about what we do is like, I don't know if I would do it for free. Like, I would literally work 2 jobs so I could do this. And so I think that's a different mentality is like, yeah, you gotta get through a lot of stuff to get to the good part. And it's just a matter of time. But for me, yeah, my first 500 songs, it was just like, and moving on, like next page. But you also just like, it's the same as any craft. You just get better as the more you do it.
Totally. It's a process.
yeah. My first song was a hit.
A hit?
I'm just kidding.
I was like, go on.
And
Let's hear it.
It's sitting on a tape at my parents' house somewhere. No one's heard it yet. But no, I'm with you. It's just like it can like, I remember like when I was like going back, I have this whole like catalog that I like store things in my Google Drive, and it's like separated by year and like who I write with. And it's like, sometimes I go back like 5 years ago and I'm like, I listen to some of those songs. I'm just like, geez, I've come a long way.
But in a
And
way,
so
that's cool.
It's fun to
You
like
hear the
go,
progress.
yeah, you can totally hear like the things that I've changed in my songwriting, like going back and looking at that. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm probably in the same boat. The first 500 songs are probably crap.
I love to hear
you
that because I'm
know.
on song 475, just waiting to
Hey,
get it going.
You're almost there. Don't stop.
It's
All right, guys.
also like chapters too, though. Like
Right.
you get to look
Yeah.
back and you're like, oh, remember when that happened?
Totally.
Yeah.
So true. Okay, we're going to go to a quick ad break, I believe. So stay there. We'll be right back. And we're going to perform. We're going to have the 3 whole songs played for y'all. Here we go. See you in a bit.
What's up, everybody? I'm Kylie Morgan, and we are back. I am so excited to hear these two amazing, incredible, talented artists, songwriters sing you guys some songs, but somehow I lost rock, paper, scissors, so I'm going to start. The song I'm going to play you is unreleased. This is my favorite unreleased song I've ever written. With songwriters, I feel like we're kind of the only ones that get do-overs, and by that I mean when something happens in our life that we wish would have gone differently, we can rewrite it in a song in a way that it can turn out the way we wanted it to, or say what we wish we would have said. So for this song, it's a very honest song. I play it at my live shows. It's the only time I go acoustic, like, by myself, and it's a very true story. So long story short, moved to Nashville with this guy. Wasn't the greatest guy, and he was kind of just one of those stepping stones, and I halfway knew that, but was still almost halfway in it, halfway out. And honestly, I met someone else when I moved here. It worked out. We are now engaged, so it's fine. But I met him, and instead of just telling this other guy that I met someone new, that I think I found my person, I lied and said that I needed time for myself. I needed to figure out who I was, and I just gave him this big web of lies because I didn't want to admit it. So I gave every cliche line I could have said, and this is my redo. This is what I wish I would have said. It's called Time for Myself. Baby, I'm on my way over. Don't worry about that bottle of wine. Tonight we just need to stay sober. Won't take up too much of your time. There ain't nothing wrong, we just need to talk. Let's not do this over the phone. Soon as I walked in, I could tell by your face, baby, you already know. Truth is, I ain't good at excuses. I wish I was, though. So baby, I'ma get right to it. You ain't the one, and I ain't the one, no. I could say we need space, you never know. One day we just might get back together, but I ain't gonna lie, I need some time for myself and someone else. Ooh, and someone else. Remember that night we made plans to meet up and see that band play on Broadway. Then you called and said you can't. You and your friends had too much to drink. Well, I hung up on you. He walked in the room, bought me a whiskey and Coke. He got my name, he got my number, and he gets me just like you don't. Truth is, I ain't good at excuses. I wish I was, though. So baby, I'm gonna get right to it. You ain't the one, and I ain't the one, no. I can say we need space, you never know. One day we just might get back together, but I ain't gonna lie, I need some time for myself and someone else. Ooh, and someone else. Well, I can say it's not you, it's me. I can say we're not meant to be, but I'm gonna give it to you honestly. I'm gonna give it to you honestly. 'Cause truth is, I ain't good at excuses. I wish I was, though. So baby, I'm gonna get right to it. You ain't the one, and I ain't the one, no. I can say we need space, you never know. One day we just might get back together, but I ain't gonna lie, I need some time for myself. I ain't gonna lie, I need some time for myself and someone else. Well, baby, I'm on my way over. Don't worry about that bottle of wine. Thank you.
Doing the old swap. All right. I'm going to do a song that I wrote with my friend Brandon Ratcliffe. He's so great. And we wrote this like last summer. And it's just about, like, you know that point in the relationship when, like, you haven't crossed that line yet. It's like you want to know what it's like to love someone and be with them. So it's called What It's Like to Love You. I know all your favorite records by heart, and the songs that make you cry. And if you could, you'd probably sleep under stars. Every single night, there's still a side of you that I haven't seen. So just between you and me, I wanna know what it's like to love you, to love you. No, I don't know if it's right, but I want you to want to shut up and kiss me like we're just kids and we don't care if we ruin our friendship. I wanna know what it's like to love you, to love you. Would you stop me if I'm talking too much? I don't wanna overthink it. It's just every now and then we accidentally touch. And when we do, my heart can't stop beating. I'd do anything just to keep you from leaving. I wanna know what it's like to love you, to love you. No, I don't know if it's right, but I want you to want to shut up and kiss me like we're just kids and we don't care if we ruin our friendship. I want to know what it's like to love you, to love you. Oh. I wanna know what it's like to love you, to love you. No, I don't know if it's right, but I want you to want to shut up and kiss me like we're just kids and we don't care if we ruin our friendship. I wanna know what it's like to love you, to love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Little switcheroo.
Make sure this one's getting my knees. Thank you. I swear I've done this before. Okay. All right. Are we all set? So some themes are a little hard to make feel new. Like we've all heard I love you songs, we've all heard I miss you songs. So it's cool when the best thing I think ever is when you get to touch on one of those themes, but in a way that you feel like no one's said it like that exactly. So I wrote this one with Shane and with my friend Emily Falvey and a bunch of Nashvilleian homies who I love. And yeah, this is like one of the cry in your car, I miss you songs. This is called With Them. I've been going out again, trying to make some brand new friends with expensive drinks and all the things you're supposed to try. I held somebody's hand last night in the backseat of a taxi ride. Wasn't all that bad. I might call back, maybe see them twice.
I've tried parties in the valley and all these side bars. I've been making out and waking up in strangers' arms. But when I'm with them, it's like I'm not even there. And I want to, I just don't know how to care. No, it doesn't matter when or where we are, what we do. I'm not with them. When I'm with them, I'm with you. No, I'm not with them. When I'm with them, I'm with you. Yeah. Laying on the bedroom floor, just the way we did before, but the ceiling's wrong and every song just makes me sad. And I know it's stupid to be stuck on you when somebody new wants to love me. I wish I was ready for that. When I'm with them, it's like I'm not even there. And I want to, I just don't know how to care. No, it doesn't matter when or where we are, what we do. I'm not with them. When I'm with them, I'm with you. No, I'm not with them. When I'm with them, I'm with you. Ooh, 310 number calling. I'm flying down Mulholland, city of angels painted blue. Ooh, sipping on something lethal, kissing on different people. Baby, nobody else will ever do. When I'm with them, it's like I'm not even there. And I want to, I just don't know how to care. No, it doesn't matter when or where we are, what we do. I'm not with them. When I'm with them, I'm with you. No, I'm not with them. When I'm with them, I'm with you.
Welcome back, everybody. We just saw some amazing live performances. Thank you so much, you guys. And the chat's heating up with some questions, so I'm going to kick it to Catherine to ask those.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, so our friend Music Fiend is back just to say that they were dancing in their chair during their performances.
Aww, so sweet.
Rosa Beads, though, wants to know, how do you power through writer's block?
You want to take that?
I feel like making, we were saying before, like if you, whether it's channeling someone else or collaboration's a great way to get over writer's block, just because you know there's a guaranteed someone's got something to say, like especially if it's the more the merrier.
Right.
During writer's block, I feel like surrounding yourself with people who are charged is like the way to go. But also living your life is a good way to get over it. Like going out, making mistakes. Mistakes are usually the best way.
I personally listen to my old songs and try and get into that like state of mind again and like what made me want to write these songs, especially if I know I'm not going to release them. I can either kind of like either rewrite it better, or I can like reach out to the co-writers I wrote it with and be like, how can we do this and put it in a different perspective, or kind of something like that. For instance, I wrote this song with Rivers Rutherford when I was 19 years old, and then we just rewrote it from a different perspective like 2 months ago. So
Wow.
I think that's what's cool too, is like if you are kind of like stuck on especially like ideas, you can go back to your old songs and rewrite them in a different way or from a different perspective, or make it end differently, and that tends to help me.
Yeah. I feel like I've kind of become okay with the idea of like knowing I'm not gonna write a hit song every day, you know, or like, yeah, it's just when you kind of like ease that pressure off of yourself, I feel like that really kind of like opens the creative door again when you're not like putting that unnecessary pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
So like, the collaboration thing is great too, you know, like being in the room with other people who are like, if you're in a rut, like being able to lean on somebody else and like bring fresh ideas.
So what's your ideas?
Yeah.
No, but setting your expectations at 0 is a really huge one, because if you go into it thinking, oh, we got to shoot for this, we got to do whatever, it's like, unless you're writing to a brief or something very specific, you like, it's always good to kind of come in there being like, I don't know what this is, but it's gonna come and it's gonna be what it is.
Can you explain what a brief is? Like, some people might not know what that means, that term you just used.
So if there is an artist who is looking for a specific type of song, or if there is, if there's a movie coming out or a TV show coming out and they're looking for, the opening song or a song for a specific scene, sometimes they'll give you like you'll get from a publisher, a short synopsis of what that's supposed to sound like, what the lyrics are supposed to say. Sometimes they're really specific, sometimes they're really vague. But that's sometimes another really fun way to get out of writer's block, is if you have someone tell you exactly what they need from you, you can be like, oh, this is like Mad Libs. I get to just fill in the blanks.
Right.
And, like turn it in, and usually it's like to their liking because they asked for it like that.
Yeah. I think writer's block is so about like pulling yourself out of it. And even if you don't write the best song ever, just write a song.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm actually in the process of I'm going on my very first tour this fall.
Yay!
Yay. I'm opening for this incredible artist, Nico Moon, and we start in like 3 weeks from now. But there's a part in my show where I'm actually working, it's kind of like Mad Libs, where I'm literally going to ask the audience to give me like a color, a place, and like a thing, and I'm going to like try and insert things like that and write a song on stage with everybody.
Whoa.
So like the audience can feel like they're helping write the song.
Oh, I love that.
And I feel like that's a fun way to do it, is like you just like, here's a box, let's write a song like that has the word box in it, and then you like forces your mind to think differently.
And they'll never forget that stuff.
Yeah.
Like people in the audience will never forget that.
No, it'll be the
I'm
best day
excited
of their
for
life.
that.
They'd be like, one time I went to a show with Kylie Morgan and I wrote a song with her.
We have so many co-writers.
Didn't get credited for it, but okay.
The splits are gnarly. gnarly.
Oh my God. Catherine, do we have any more chat questions?
We do.
Let's get them in there.
So we have one from TCB Everyday. Must be an Elvis fan. What is the hardest thing about being a singer-songwriter, and what's the easiest?
Oh.
For me, it's the hardest thing is to not write for just yourself. I'm super into writing for other artists. I love doing it because I get to put on different hats, and I actually sometimes prefer it because I'm so into my own artist project that sometimes I'm like, wait, no, that's what you would say. What would they say? And so it's a lot harder for me because I am equally artist writer to like take my hat off and put their hat on and put myself in their shoes, but it also like helps me be a better writer for myself, because then if I'm stuck in my own story, I can help write someone else's, which I feel like y'all can contest to personally.
Some songs are easier to give to people than others. Some songs you're just like, don't take it. It's here. I have to do this, but please don't take it, please.
Is it because it's so personal, or like?
Sometimes, yeah. And what's annoying is that even I've found that the more specific you get in your writing, the more other people somehow weirdly relate to it, even if it's not their experience. But like if you're like I have a song called The Other World Stood Still, and I mentioned my sister by name in it. I'm like, Sister Bailey up in Boston. And people are like, oh my God, that lyric. I'm like, do you have a Sister Bailey up in Boston? Like, what the hell? Like, it's so crazy, but people really eat up the specific details. And
That's
then like,
bold.
but that
You're
would
right.
never be a pitch song. That was like from my soul direct to consumer. Like, it's not, it's really like, but I think that being able to have that choice as a singer-songwriter is one of the good things. Yeah.
Ben, what about you?
I feel like you guys kind of hit on the hardest part. I feel like the easiest part is just like, for me, like this is definitely what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, and so like just enjoying that. Like I was driving over here this morning, I'm like, wow, I like get to come here and do this today and like write songs with some great people, and it's gonna be so fun. It's just like, yeah, I just really enjoy doing it because I know it's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's
you know?
awesome.
Gratitude, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Gotta practice it.
Yeah, daily, because
Yes.
it's so true. You know, we have these questions to ask you guys about your first pub deals, and there's easily a decade of history before that happens, and people forget that, and they think, you know, you get your deal, you did it, you're a success, and there's so much more to it, and you guys are all you guys are all a testament that like you're where you're supposed to be, you know, because you've stuck through it and you've done it. So good on y'all.
Thanks.
I think we're gonna wrap up here soon, but before we do that, I want to make sure we plug all the cool things you guys are working on right now. Let's let you go first. I know you have like the biggest show ever coming up in a month.
I'm fangirling right now. So I just put out this EP called Love Kylie, which is my very first debut EP. It's the whole idea behind the record was each song is so personal to me, like we've been talking about, and it's pretty much a letter from me to the listener. So we did this big dear everyone who hits play, like I hope this record finds you well, and I just hope that people get to know me better after listening to this record. And so I just put that out, and that led to actually Dina Carter, which is the singer of Strawberry Wine, which is the most iconic song, in my opinion, of country music as well. I don't know. Man, I feel like a woman wished by Shania. It's kind of neck and neck. But Strawberry Wine was always one of my favorite songs, and I got a call. Actually, I didn't get a call. Dina showed up to my album release party.
Oh my God.
Asked me to sing Strawberry Wine on the re-release of it as the 25-year anniversary with Ashley McBride, Martina McBride, Lauren Elena, her, and me.
Let's
And
go!
I'm still just fangirling over it. We're debuting it at the Ryman before it comes out, or right after it comes out a month from yesterday. So very, very excited for all the things.
Stay tuned for that, y'all.
Yes.
And you just put out a project too. Tell
I just
everybody.
put out my debut EP as well last
She's
week.
fresh.
So
Fresh
off the press.
That is fresh. That's exciting.
So I'm just kind of like doing everything independently on my own and putting it out into the world. And it's like a lot of these songs I wrote by myself. So again, kind of like personal things, but it was like, it was a collection of songs like over the last like 3 years. Like I think I wrote the first one in, I guess it would have been 2018. So it's just like a collection of songs that I've fallen in love with, and I just wanted to like put out and say something about. So.
Yeah.
Can't wait to listen in the
Okay.
car immediately after this. What about you? What you got going on? What can we look forward to?
I have, so my debut EP came out this past summer in like late August.
Yes.
It's called All Dressed Up. And very, very pop. It's very like,
It's real good.
it's
Yes.
very, if you want to dance and feel good, there's a lot of that on there.
Get ready to it.
And
Not that I've
then-
done it or anything over and over.
And then I have new music coming before the end of the year. I don't know how much else I can share besides that, but there's
that's
new
good.
stuff. There's new stuff coming.
Secret. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Grind with Jack Newsom, Kylie Morgan, Ben Foster, and stay on the lookout for all their new things and go listen to some music, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.